Welcome back to an episode of the Coast Boys podcast. My name is Gabe. Today I'm here with Izzy, and I welcome our guest, Talia Cardenas. How are you doing, Talia?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
All right, before we jump into your episode, we just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's bought merch. Literally, the first launch just ended the other day, and we just want to thank everybody again for putting in your orders in. Like, the support we got was insane. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Izzy, but overwhelmed, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a huge turnout, way better than we had expected, and we're definitely going to have more in the future. So everybody that bought some, that supported us, thank you so much. And we'll just keep you guys posted on everything.
For sure. Now, Talia, for those who don't know you, do you mind giving like a quick little blurb about who you are and kind of what you're doing now?
Yes, a quick rundown.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like you said, my name is Talia. I'm from Denair, California, which is a small town in the Central Valley. Most people don't know where that is. But point of reference is close to Modesto, California. And I graduated from UC Davis back in 2018. I majored in human development with a minor in Chicana studies. And right after graduating, I moved back and I started working as a behavior technician. And as a BT, I provide ABA therapy and early intervention to children typically between the ages of 2 to 4. And recently, I decided to go back to school. So I am now a grad student at CSU Stanislaus in the Masters of Social Work program. So that's a little about me.
That's awesome.
And she has a boutique. You didn't even mention that at all.
Yeah.
All right. Humble. Okay.
Yeah, on the side. We'll get into it.
Well, I really want to start there, if you don't mind. Because your boutique's name is called Lovely Bae. And I mean, I like the name because it's funny because Izzy and I were talking about this the other day. Like, we needed a name for the podcast and we came up with the Coast Boys after literally like hours of just going back and forth and trying to figure out names. So where did your name come from and where did the inspiration come from?
Oh my God. So let me just say, coming up with a name was not easy. I had a list of names that I was going through and creating logos, trying to see what looked good. I like to say I love food, so every name that I came up with was like food based. It was something about like lemon drop or like cherry something, like some sort of fruit was in the name.
Okay.
So I was sitting, because it's me and my friends Myra and Maria. Shout out to Myra and Maria. So they were also throwing out names and everyone was throwing out names and it's three minds trying to come up with one. So it's actually a funny story. My little brother Junior is the one who threw out Lovely Bae. And me and Maria were like, that sounds pretty good. We're like, we kind of like that. And it's actually an acronym for lovely, beautiful, and elegant. So Lovely Bae. And yeah, so technically it's my younger brother's idea and we just rolled with it. He even said, he's like, I need to get some credit for that. I was like, you didn't copyright it.
You're like, definitely not.
No.
Damn,
So what is it
he's
that
the
you guys-
mastermind behind it?
What is it that you guys sell?
Yeah, so we're an online clothing boutique and it's women's clothing and it's size small through like 3 extra large. But yeah, it's mostly women's clothing. We sell shirts, bottoms, dresses, accessories. It's still small, so we don't have too much stuff on there, but it's going. We're nearing a year now, so it's pretty set up now.
And is this something that you guys have always wanted to do? Like something that you wanted to do, have your own store when you were younger? Or how did that even start?
Okay, so it's funny because it's not something that I like grew up wanting to do, but I always liked clothes. Whenever I was at Davis, Gabe knows this, Forever 21 is like across the street from UC Davis. And for me, it's like a retail therapy thing. Like anytime it was midterms or finals, like right after a final, I would just walk right across the street and go and like try on clothes and like play dress up at Forever 21. And it would just make me feel better like after a stressful moment. So it was just something that I would do, or I would find myself like always scrolling through like online stores. And it wasn't like I was buying a lot of clothes because, you know, college students on a budget over here, but I just like scrolling through clothes. And I found that it was something that I was just enjoying on my free time. And Maria one day said like, oh, I wish I had a boutique. And it was crazy because I had said that before. So when she said it, I was like, dude, we should start a boutique. Like we both kind of had it in our minds. And Mara and Maria are always like fashionistas, like they're super into fashion. And for me, it was more like a therapy thing. So it kind of just worked out that the three of us were interested and we were just like, we should just do it. So we just went for it. We're like, okay, let's start looking into what it takes. And we did our research and we just decided to go for it. So.
Okay, so what did that research look like? Like,
Yeah.
you guys are Googling stuff? You guys were asking other people who had done it before? Like, where'd you go to?
And do any of you guys have a business background as well? Like, did any of you guys study business? Or your other two
No.
friends?
So, okay, Maria is currently a business major. And I think she's still like in her first couple undergrad years. But Myra studied speech pathology. And like I said, I went more like the human development route. So we didn't really have anyone to like turn to as far as like asking somebody. So it was a lot of Google and YouTube. And fortunately, with the way that the internet is set up right now, I mean, YouTube has so many videos. If you look up how to start a boutique, like there's so many. So that was one of our things. We were like, let's just watch a bunch of videos and we'll write down things that like seem to be go-tos in every single video. So if there was something that was mentioned like across the board, we're like, okay, we need to do that. But yeah, it was a lot of the internet helping us through it.
Okay, so you said is it online only? Or do you guys have a store?
Okay, so we don't have a brick and mortar like set up store. It's mostly online. But we do like pop-ups here and there, or if people live like in the area, they are able to like go and try on the clothes type of stuff. But it's mostly online.
And so when you guys do that, like, what are the first steps? Like, obviously you said research everything, but if someone's listening to this and wants to do the same thing, start a boutique, like, where do they start?
So like I said, we researched, and the way we decided to go about it, first off, we decided to register as an LLC. And an LLC is a limited liability corporation, and we wanted to do it that way because we didn't want to put just one of our names on it. So we registered for an EIN for the business and then opened the LLC with that.
What's an EIN?
So it's kind of like a taxpayer identification number,
Okay.
like to do taxes and everything. It's a lot. So the thing with the LLC was we didn't realize that you had to pay an 800 annual fee within the first year when we did it. But starting in 2021, they removed that. So you no longer have to do that. So we decided we were going to dissolve the LLC and file again in 2021 so that we could start then, if that makes sense. Because we had started like,
bucks.
Yeah, because we had started towards the end of the year. So we were like, we can't pay that right now because we just started the business. And we were like, dude, it's like literally after we did it, they put in that new law to where you don't have to pay $800 on your first year of business. So we're going to go through that process again. But that's kind of like the legal side, the tax side. That's the tricky part, I would say, about starting a business. But yeah, so after getting the LLC, we applied for the seller's permit, and that you can get, it's through like the California government page. And you need that because when you're looking for clothing that you want to sell, you need the seller's permit to even look through the clothing that's available through wholesalers. But once we had that, it was simple from there. We kind of just had to do a lot of scrolling and looking through the wholesaler websites and deciding what we wanted to sell, finding people that had quality products at affordable prices. And that could be a little risky because you don't know what they're going to send you sometimes, or you think you're going to get something and then you get something that's like not at all what you expected. So it is a little tricky at first finding vendors that you trust, but once you find someone that you like, it's pretty simple from there. So.
And so is there like just a huge database of all these wholesale vendors that you like can just go through and just look at all their stuff, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's the first one that we used, I'll give this one out. It's called orangeshine.com, and it's a wholesaler's website, and there's a bunch of vendors on there. But like I said, you have to have your seller's permit in order to get access to it for some of the vendors. I think some of them you don't. But there's other ones out there too. Everyone talks about Alibaba Express for wholesaling as well. I'm not sure their requirements. We've never like gone through them, but Orange Shine was the first one that we used, and there's other ones too. I know there's people who like sell their wholesaler list, so that's again where like the research comes in, and you kind of have to like look for it. But yeah, there's websites that just have a ton of vendors on there.
You
So,
mentioned earlier that there's sometimes. Sorry, Gabe, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
But you
you're good,
mentioned
you're good.
earlier that there's sometimes that you can't trust the vendor. You don't know if they're gonna send you a quality product. Has that happened to you guys so far?
Um, kind of, I would say. Not really. We've gotten pretty lucky, but there has been times where you'll get items and they're a lot smaller than you thought they were going to be, or like the sizing is just like completely off. So it's kind of an issue that a lot of people have with online shopping. Sometimes you think something's going to be a certain size or fit a certain way, and then you see it and it's like, this is not like true to size at all. It's mostly been, I feel like, with sizing. Um, the quality and stuff has been, I'd say most of the vendors we picked have been good. So
Fingers
Okay,
crossed.
and then how then you get all the products, you get all the stuff. Where do you market to? How do you market to the people? Like, is it just through social media? Is it through word of mouth? Like, what was your guys' go-to?
yeah, so our main thing was Instagram. That's kind of what we chose to focus our marketing efforts on, and then word of mouth. But I feel like Instagram has been the easiest way to put our pictures out there and market ourselves, just because we were so comfortable with the app already, because all three of us have Instagram. So you kind of like see how it works. And then with that, you also see, we would look up like other boutiques that are online and on Instagram and kind of see like how they were doing it. Aside from that, we tried the Facebook thing, and it was just, I think we're too out of touch with, I don't even have a Facebook anymore. So I think it was just too out of touch. So that's another way that people do it too. We didn't go that route, but it really just is whatever you're comfortable using. And I think that's what's going to work best for you. But I think Instagram is a really, really good tool to market yourself for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is a dumb question because I don't know that much about boutiques or women's clothing, but do you guys have like seasonal selections? Or is it like you guys sell the same things year round? And if so, how far in advance do you guys plan those?
Yeah, so that's not a dumb question at all, because we do. I think you kind of like have to, just so that you're putting stuff that people want during that season. When we first started, we kind of, it was like around fall, so we were getting like sweaters, fall colors, kind of like color schemes. And then with spring, we were like super excited. It's like, yeah, summer clothes, like more like floral. So we definitely cater like what we're picking based on the season, what we think people are going to want to wear. And like I said, we're looking at other boutiques and just other things that are in style right now and go based off of that. As far as planning, I would say we start looking at things maybe like a couple months in advance, just so we have time to get the product, make sure that we like it, make sure that we have time to like take pictures in it and start posting it by the time that we want. And then you can also start like advertising like, oh, spring collection is going to drop soon, like keep an eye out. And then we also have to make sure we give ourselves enough time to like post it on the website. So I would say definitely at least we do a couple months. You should probably do like 3 months in advance if you want to be like really on top of it.
Dang. And what way, like, or like the website, like what route did you guys take? Like, did you guys design it? Did you guys go through like an app or another website that is like drag and drop? How did you guys do the website?
Yeah, so that was another thing that was an issue. At first, we didn't have a website because we were messing around with like Shopify and Wix.com, just other like website makers. We definitely knew that we weren't going to design it, just because none of us knew how to design a website. But at Davis, I had been in a club and I had been in charge of the website. So I had some idea about how to use a website maker at least. So we decided to go with Free Web Store. I think it's .com or .org. And they have been pretty easy to use. I don't know if it's a drag and drop necessarily, but it's one of those where they give you like layouts, like preset layouts, and then you can design it from there and upload your own pictures and upload everything about the items and make it like super customized to your website. But yeah, we went that route. We went through a website maker.
Damn.
Okay.
Dude, there's so
Yeah.
much that goes into it.
It's crazy. A question that just popped into my mind was, so you're not taking pre-orders on stuff, right? So you guys are buying in bulk and then you're hoping that you're going to sell out those certain things. So like, is there like a lot of money that you guys have to pay up front? And then you just like, oh man, we got to hopefully we sell everything, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we have like dipped into what you would call like drop shipping, where you do, I guess you call them pre-orders, where you tell people like, oh, order this item and then you'll get it. It's called drop shipping. But we don't really do that much, just because we like to see the item first, and be able to take pictures in it. Because if we do it that route, then we have to use like the vendor's pictures, and it really just depends on how you want to make your website look. I feel like if you want to personalize it, it's better to like have the item up front and be able to take pictures in it. But yeah, we did definitely take a risk as far as we buy in bulk. We typically each package comes with 6 of each item. For women's clothing, it's like 6 of each item, like 2 of each size. And that was just the way we chose to do it. So we kind of it was an investment for sure, in hopes that we knew we were going to have to put work into marketing and put work into displaying our items and try to make that money back and more. So.
And how do you guys like divide the, like, not the ownership, like the money, but like the hat that you guys, like, what role do you have in the business? And then like your other partners as well.
Yeah, so I think since it's still like so new, we weren't super like cut and dry as far as like roles. And that's kind of just because we're so close. I think we're just 3 friends who decided like, we like clothes, let's sell clothes, and went for it, and we weren't super organized about it. As time has like gone, we haven't like set specific goals for people, but you kind of see like people's like roles. I feel like I usually like upload stuff onto the website, kind of in charge, managing the website. But if I can't do it, like Mara and Maria can step in and do it. Or like Maria's really good at taking pictures and editing pictures. So she's kind of like the one who does that the most. But again, like if anything, one of us can step in and do it if she doesn't have the time to do it. Myra's really good with the pop-ups. Like she has all the clothes at her house, and so we'll just meet up and put it together, but she's really good at like organizing the setup, and it's kind of like that. We personally didn't set specific roles, but we kind of know what everyone's like into doing. I would suggest though, if you're planning on being like organized about it, like yeah, it'd be good to probably like just set specific roles for everybody, but we're just kind of like 3 friends going for it. So
I feel that.
Yeah, it's tough. And that was kind of brought up something good, is you brought up the pop-up. So that's like another way that you can market to the people. Do you want to kind of talk about that? Like, how does that work? And because before that, I talked to you, I mean, off air, but you told me pop-ups. And I was like, what the hell is it? Like, I had no real idea what it was.
yeah, it's crazy. And I think, I don't know if it's just like a local thing or if a lot of people do it, but in our area, like there's pop-ups like every weekend, and it might have happened like through COVID. I think a lot of people started taking on like side hustles and realizing like, okay, there's got to be other ways to get it out there. Like maybe we aren't established yet to have our own place in town to do it, but there's got to be another way. So pop-ups started coming up, and this is before like we were even in business. So once we started our boutique, we were like, we should look into pop-ups, and we kind of just met someone who happened to do pop-ups, and then from there they would send us like invites to them. But what it is, it's a vendor will take it upon themselves to like organize this event, and it could be like at someone's house or at some sort of like venue, and then all the vendors will just show up there and advertise, and people will come out, customers come out, and you hopefully get some people to buy your products.
Have you found like a lot of foot traffic coming from that? Have you found it to be successful for you guys?
Yeah,
Like,
I think pop-ups have been good. Sorry, what were
like,
you gonna say?
oh, sorry, I tried cutting you off right there, but I was gonna say like compared to like Instagram, how does that match up, like the sales and stuff?
Okay, so if I had to compare pop-ups and Instagram, I would say for sure more sales are made through Instagram just because you can get people to click on the website and it's just an easier way to advertise every day. Whereas pop-ups don't happen all the time. They might be like once or twice a month. So you do really well like on the day that you go to the pop-up. But it ends up being around the same if you would just focus your efforts on like marketing your website and your products through Instagram. So
Mm. And what do you see? What do you see as like the biggest challenges with having a boutique?
I think one of the biggest challenges is kind of like the not so fun part, which would be like keeping track of like the books, I would say. It does take a lot of like keeping track of how much each product costs, like how much the shipping for that item costs, and what adds up to be the real total for that item, and then keeping track of like every item you sell and just all the other things that you're spending money on as far as like thank you cards or stickers, packaging, stuff like that. It is a lot of you have to be pretty organized with that side of it. So it's kind of like the busy work, I think, is the hardest part. Aside from that, it would probably just be making time. All three of us are currently like students and we also have other jobs. So unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of like focusing all of our time and efforts on that. Whereas I'm sure if we could really like go full force into it. But since we don't, I think finding time to make sure that we're allotting enough time into it is kind of a hard part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what always happens with Izzy and I. We always say like conflicting schedules is probably the hardest thing. When I have free time, he's busy, or then he's free and I'm at school working, and so it's like it's tough to get everybody together to kind of work on the same thing. But that kind of ties into a great question. So what are the like next steps for Lovely Bay? Then you said right now you guys aren't able to kind of all go full force on this, but is that something you guys want to do in the future, or like where do you see Lovely Bay going?
Yeah, so I mean, long story short, like long term, we would like to have a brick and mortar store like somewhere in town. We recently actually thought about renting out a venue and having the store like set up in town, but we decided not to. I think we were like, oh, it's too soon. And like I said, we can't always be at the store. So we chose like, let's just hold off, focus on marketing online and building more like customers and profit before we go that route. But I think long term, I could definitely see it being something that we decide to actually have a store. I think that would be ideal.
Right now, where are you guys working out of? Like, whose house do you guys keep all the inventory at?
Yeah, so at first we would keep it at my house, and then right now we kind of moved everything into Myra's house because she had a spare bedroom in her house, and we just set up everything in there.
Mm, that's crazy. And where do you guys do the shipping? Like, what does shipping look like when somebody orders it online? What is the process like?
Yeah, so most vendors are based out of LA, the ones that we work with. So it's really fast, like turnaround. It'll get here like within a week and they ship them to my house. So it's always fun when you get the shipments because I love, like I said, I love just like plain dress up. I get to open up all the items and see it all. And that's been good. I will say there was one particular vendor that took like over a month to send the package, and we were so done. We're like, dude, what is going on? Because, like I said, if you're planning on doing like a drop based on the seasons, like you can't be waiting a week for a vendor to send you your item. So it's really important to like check reviews as far as like shipping and make sure that they have on-time shipping rates. Aside from that, there's also like charging for shipping that they don't tell you how much it's going to be until it ships out, which is kind of like sketchy.
So, I mean, but what I meant was like when somebody orders from your website, like let's
Oh,
say,
like ship, like how we ship it out to
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, dude, I answered a completely different question.
No, you're good, you're good.
Yeah, so we offer three different types of ways for you to get your items. So we can either do delivery if it's like local, we'll just take it to you. You can also pick up, and pick up would be at Myra's house where the items are at. Or sometimes at my house, like if they live closer to me, I'll pick up the item from Myra's house and be like, okay, pick it up at my house. Shipping, we also do shipping. We've actually shipped out like out of state. I think we've shipped out to like Colorado before and like other out of state places, but it's all done through the post office. We'll just have our packaging for shipping out items, and then they weigh the items there, and they create the label for us, and then it's off. It's
And
really
those
out
people
of
from
the
like
post
from
office.
those people from Colorado, are those people that you guys know, or is this like random people who saw the boutique online and then they ordered something?
So the people from Colorado, it was actually someone we went to school with, so we knew them. I don't know. I think we have gotten some that it was people we didn't know, but they've been like from the area.
Yeah, I think that's always funny for Izzy and I. Like, we get people like, we had a friend who was working in Alaska, and then we had a bunch of people from Alaska tuning into like an episode, or we had somebody like from New York, from the East Coast, like message us and talk to us about the podcast. So it's always cool, like, to have different people just reach out to you that you've never met before.
Yeah.
That is exciting. So why don't we just transition over to like life growing up? Because for people that don't know you, like what was it like growing up where you grew up? Like, did you always want to go to college? Did you always want to do what you do? What was that like?
Yeah. So growing up, like I said, it's a really, really small town. I was with the same people at school from like kindergarten to my senior year in high school. Like it's a small town. But I
How many
really
people?
liked
How many
it.
people in your town?
In my town,
Yeah.
dude, I always look at the population sign, what it says, like maybe less than 5,000. It's very
Okay.
small.
That is
And
pretty
my
small, yeah.
graduating class was like, I don't even know if it was 80. It was like from 70 to 80 students.
Okay, that's pretty small.
Yeah, so we kind of all always like knew each other. And I would say school was always kind of easy for me. I don't know why, like nomás like se me daba is the way I would put it. I knew I wanted to go to college since I was like in second grade, just because when I was in second grade, I remember my mom would make me go to summer school. I think just because she didn't want me at home not doing anything. And there was a TA who took a liking to me and my one of my like best friends at the time. And she literally would just always give us books, and like she was always encouraging us to like be studious. And at the end of the summer program, she took me and my friend to tour Stan State. So ever since then, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to college. Like I just knew I wanted to go to college, and I always wanted to go to Stan State. And that was perfect for my parents because my parents are like the type of parents that are like, you're not going away, like you're gonna go to school right there and stay with us, you know. Like that was just then, like super protective, and I was like, okay. I was like super fine with it. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But I remember once I got into high school, like I said, I continued like doing pretty well in school. I had good grades. I knew I was going to go to college, and I was pretty set on going either to Stan State or Fresno State. But when I went to apply, I remember that they gave me like a certain amount of applications. So I applied to Stan State and Fresno State, and then some other CSUs, and then UCs. We have UC Merced. So I was like, oh, I could go there and still be like from home. I still was like, I'm just going to stay at home. And they also gave me like other applications. So I think I applied to like Merced, Davis, Berkeley, and I don't remember what other one. But when I got my admission to Davis, I was like, I got in? Like, what? Yeah, like it wasn't something like I expected. Like I literally applied because I was like, well, I guess I'll click on Davis. Like it wasn't something that I like had dreamed of or planned. And I just remember, I don't know if I thought I wouldn't get it, or I think because I never looked into other like universities, it just wasn't like in my plan type of thing. Like I was fine with just staying in my small town and being comfortable where I was at and getting my career here. But once I saw that, I was like, what? I should go see what it looks like and like tour the place. And when I went, I was like, dude, this is like a really big school compared
It's
to what I was used
huge.
to.
It's massive.
Yeah. I think once I realized just how big it was, I felt like I was limiting myself. And I was like, I mean, if I could go here, like, why not? And I got a really good financial aid package. So it's like almost like I had no reason not to, other than my parents being like, no, we want you to stay home, you know?
How far is it from home?
It's not that far. It's like 2 hours away.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not
Yeah,
bad
it
at
wasn't
all.
bad. I would still visit like every other weekend. Like I was coming home pretty often.
Yeah, you were never on campus. I remember that.
Yeah.
You were never on campus.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
You would go home every weekend.
Oh yeah, I would
Yeah.
every other weekend I would come home. I wouldn't come home every weekend just because I didn't like driving that much, but yeah, if I could come home, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going home.
Oh, you should tell us about all your driving stories that you've had, because you've had quite the number of driving stories.
Dude, my luck with cars, like it's so bad. I mean, the amount of times I have been on the side of the road, like I couldn't count them. Like AAA probably should know me like by name basis by now because it's so bad.
A regular customer.
Yeah, I'm a regular customer. Like,
That's
hey
so
guys,
funny.
again.
Yeah, dude. I just remember like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night or something. I'm just like chilling, watching Netflix. I get a random phone call. I hadn't talked to her like in a while. I just get a phone call from her, and I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey, so I'm stuck on the side of the road right now. I'm just like, what the hell? And she's like, yeah, my tire just popped. I'm waiting for AAA to come here. You want to
Damn.
keep me company? I'm just like, sure.
It's so bad. I remember that time I called him. I had gone to Oakland, I think, for a concert. It was like a Kali Uchis concert because I love her. And on the drive home, my tire popped. And I remember I called my dad, and my dad was like, well, call AAA. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about it because it's like a drive away from him. And I was like, thanks, Dad. So, yeah, I just had to be on the side of the freeway. Cars were like zooming by. And I was like, I feel like I need to talk to someone. Like, I don't feel safe here. Fortunately, Gabe answered the phone.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It ruined my Netflix episode that I was
Oh
watching.
my
but hey.
God.
You're like, dude,
is what
I'm
it is.
busy. Leave me alone.
No, but I'm not kidding.
That's
I went
funny.
through a period where like one of my tires popped, and like a couple of weeks later, like the next one would pop, and like a couple of weeks later, the next tire popped. And I was like, dude, what is
Jesus.
going on here?
What kind of car are you driving?
I got a new car.
Okay, good.
Which, by the way, I still have car issues. Gabe could tell you about those windshield
Bro,
wiper
hey,
problems.
I don't want to talk about it. bro.
Dude, yeah, let's
I'm
not
still
talk
mad.
about that.
I'm still mad.
That's hella funny. I had to edit all those videos. I feel like I was there.
Dude. And I watched the
Yes.
video, and I'm like, it does not like do justice to how scary like the situation was.
Yeah, it doesn't even look that bad. It looks like you guys just like almost hit something and you just braked. Like I would have never guessed that you guys spun around.
Izzy, when I tell you, like, I had already been driving at least 30 minutes you can ask Gabe. I was like, I don't feel good about this. This is scary. I don't feel good about this. This is scary. And then it all freaking like came to fruition, and it was like my biggest nightmare. And I was like, oh my God, I called
Dude.
it.
I'm just like, be quiet. It's fine. Just keep on driving. Like, don't worry.
Yeah, see in the background, like, I just want to get home. I was like,
Yeah.
we might not in these conditions.
Shout out,
Dude.
yes, yeah, I remember that.
What was I gonna ask? I was gonna ask about high school. Were you in any like Avid program or anything to prepare you for college?
I was not. I don't think we had Avid at the time, honestly. That's one thing I would say. I don't think our school had that many like college prep programs. I think we had one, and I don't remember what it was called. So no, not really. I will say though, like since it was small, it was really easy to build like relationships with your teachers. So I had one teacher that when I told him I got into Davis, and I had told him like, I don't think I'm gonna go there, like I think I'm just gonna stay here. Like he was big on like, dude, if you can get out of town, like get out of town, dude. Like you need to experience what's
Yeah.
out there, you know? He's like, you need to see something else. And he was kind of the one who convinced me to be like, okay, fine, I'll take the leap of faith if you say so.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I would say even though we didn't really have those programs, we were pretty close with like most of our teachers. At
That's
least
good.
I was.
That's good. Shout out to that guy. That's
Yeah,
great
I know.
advice.
Shout out to Mr. Cumberland.
That's hella.
Talk about the housing situation that you had, because your housing situation when you went to Davis was different than something that I had. Like when I went into Davis, it was fully random. I just like had a random roommate that assigned to me in a random place. I didn't even get to pick the spot, and then I just kind of lived there. But yours was a little bit different. Go ahead and talk
Yeah.
about that.
Well, Gabe was like off campus. It was, I don't even know where your dorms were at.
It
But
wasn't
okay,
that off campus. Relax.
it was. Um, but yeah, so my situation when I was applying to like my preferences, I decided to do Casa, which is Casa Cuauhtémoc, which is like the Chicano Latino like dorm. And I didn't know what it was. I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll click that one. I don't know why I clicked it. I was like, yeah, maybe I won't feel like such a culture shock. So I chose there, and it was a really small dorm. I think it was like a 3-story like building, in like the older dorms on campus. But I mean, I was comfortable with it. I will say though, our setup was weird that we had what you would call, I think it was called a quad. So you would go in and it'd be like a tiny like living room, like common area, and then there would be one room to your right and then one room to your left. But I also didn't pick my roommate. I decided to go at random. But it ended up working out fine.
Damn. Wait, so it's just Hispanics in that housing, or is it in the village, or what?
So it's I don't even know how you would like say it, but technically yes, it's like people who identify as like in the Latino community in that housing. But like my roommate was she wasn't like, I don't think she was no, she was like half Mexican, I think. But we had some people that weren't Mexican or like Salvadorian or under like any type of Latino. So it was mostly for the Chilac community, but there were some students who weren't at all.
That's
Does
interesting.
that make sense?
I wonder if they did that for like other ethnicities as well.
They did. Yeah, they had other like dorms or floors that were based on if you wanted to go into that. So I don't even know
I didn't
what you
even
were
know
gonna
that.
call it.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they did. It was like an option in the application.
I know there's some for like
Dave
athletes
chose
and
the
for
off-campus one.
relax. It wasn't even off campus. I hate when people say that, man. It makes me so
Why-
angry.
When
Why,
I tell
Gabe?
you,
Why, Gabe?
I never like saw those buildings ever.
It makes me angry because I'd be like, oh, I live in Webster. Like, where the hell is that? I'm like, oh, it's right by Forever 21, right next door. Like, oh, you live way over there? I was like, it's a block away. Like, why are you acting like I'm like across town? And then people be like, oh, I don't want to go over. That's too far. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, everyone's on bikes. Everybody's like commuting. Like, it's so easy. But,
Oh my God, I had a bike
whatever.
accident.
Oh, talk about that. Talk about that.
Dude, I think I'm just not good on wheels because yeah, I remember my freshman year I had a bike accident because okay, if you've ever been to Davis, it's like bike city. Like there's more bikes than students. I think that's like a fact. I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
but there's a lot
No,
of
it's
bikes.
real.
And yeah, everybody uses a bike. And I was like, well, I guess I gotta get a bike. And there was one morning I got up like just in time for my class. I think I was still like half asleep. And I was in a roundabout, which I would say are the most dangerous like parts of campus. And as I was getting out of the roundabout, like I was like in the middle and tried to get out of the roundabout. So the bike behind me like hit me and I was like all messed up. My bike was broken and I still went to class. My hand was like all bloody. I was in class. So bad.
That would have been a great reason not to go to class. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, why did I should have just stayed.
I would have never. Man,
I
got
would have
my,
went straight home after that.
I know, right? It's hella funny.
I stopped using the bike after that. I was like, it's done. I don't want it.
Maybe you should
You
just
live
walk
close to
everywhere.
everything. You could have walked. Yeah, you live close to everything.
Yeah, I normally would walk, but I think because I would wake up, well, that one was a little further from my dorm, so I would wake up like just in time. So it was I would have been late if I hadn't biked, but I was late anyway. So
I remember I got my tire stolen like 3 weeks before school ended. I was about to be done, and then my got stolen. I was hella sad.
my God.
Damn,
And I lived
really?
hella far off campus, so I had to like commute or take a bus or walk over, and I was late for my classes. And
I miss the buses. The buses were so handy. Like Davis had such a good bus system. Okay, I will say though, there were so many times I would miss my stop and I would end up having to take an entire trip around Davis because I
That's
would
true.
forget to pull the little thing.
so I don't know how Sonoma State does it, Izzy, but like the way Davis has like their like little commute system is they have a bunch of like these buses. They even have double-decker buses from like England and stuff. Those are for like specific routes or whatever. But they have all these buses that basically like run all time, and so you just have to figure out what bus like follows your route to your apartment or to wherever you're trying to get to, and you can go on for free if you're a student. You just have to show your little ID badge, and so that was like an easy way to get around Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sonoma's too small for that. It's like
Yeah,
a little,
it was
it's a
pretty
little
useful.
campus. So talk about what you studied in school. How did you pick that major?
Yeah. Oh my God. So that was also a mission. I went in undeclared. I was undeclared in the social sciences. And initially, I remember in high school, I was like, I think I want to be a counselor, but I wanted to be a counselor for like juvies, like a correctional counselor. But I wasn't exactly sure how to go about it. So I was like, I'll go undeclared in the social sciences and see what's going on. I think I was also kind of worried about what classes were going to be like in Davis because, like I said, like school was always pretty chill for me in high school, but I was like, it's because our school is so small, like this isn't that difficult, but I didn't know what to expect at Davis. So I was like, I'm gonna go pretty chill into it. So I took like some psych classes, some social classes, like poli-sci classes. Like I was just taking a bunch of like my GEs and seeing what I liked. And I thought I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to double major in psychology and sociology, like Gabe.
Hey.
But when I started looking more into the majors, I'm like, oh, human development is like the mix of psychology and sociology. I try to convince him so many times, but I don't know why.
It's not gonna happen.
I was like, whatever.
Why
dude.
not, Gabe? I want to hear that. When you guys would have those conversations, what was your argument against it?
I'd already made my decision that I was gonna double major in second,
He was
so
just
I'd
being
already started my
stubborn.
classes. Yeah, I've been called stubborn a few times. They're not wrong. Yeah.
I would have never called you stubborn.
No, but yeah, what like human development, it was just the perfect mix of like psychology, sociology, some poli-sci classes, anthropology. Like it was so perfect for me because I don't like taking like the same subject of classes. Like I wanted something where I was gonna take a little bit of different subjects, so it was perfect for me. And it tied into kind of what I wanted to do. It's focused on child development and adolescent development. So I liked how if I wanted to go like the counseling route, I could still use it. I thought about maybe going like a pre-health route with counseling, and it was also good with that because it had like some science requirements. So it just fit better for me.
Okay, can you talk about like your first initial reaction to going to a class? You said you went to a super small school like Izzy and I both did. Yours was even smaller, and then you going into your first like lecture hall class, and there's probably what 200-300 kids, if not more. Like, was that overwhelming for you, or how was that for you?
That's it was, I can't remember initially like how I felt, but I think overall I did feel very like disconnected. Like if I was there, if I wasn't there, I felt like it didn't matter, which was very different from going to a small school where like your teachers know you and like you have a relationship with them. And I think that was part of the reason why I ended up minoring in Chicana studies, because when I would go to those classes, it was smaller and I felt like I could actually build relationships with my professors. Like one of my professors would see me on campus and she'd call me like, "Hola, mija, like, ¿cómo estás?" And like, I really liked that. Whereas like my bio professors, like my chem professors in those big classes, like they won't even recognize you, you know? So that was weird. And I think that was one of the reasons why I found it hard to focus in those classes because I just wasn't engaged. Like I didn't feel like connected or like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like super motivated in those classes. And I think that could have been why. Because once I did some science classes where it was like in labs or smaller groups, I could get into those and like that was fun. But I think definitely the big classes, it was really hard for me to focus. I don't think I knew how easily distracted I am, and I realized it once I was in those big classes because it was so easy to like get on my phone or like be like, I think I'm gonna leave now because it's just so big.
Those are the classes where you're just like, I'm just gonna show up and that's enough, you know? Like,
Yeah,
I did good.
you know
I
what
showed
I
up to
mean?
class
Like-
today. Like,
Yeah, like you have to like really think about like I'm gonna focus, I'm gonna pay attention. So
yeah.
it was hard in those big classes for sure.
And did you already know when you were majoring in that? Did you already know what you want to do after? Like, did you already have a plan?
No. I had an idea of like things I was considering, and it was always either like pre-health route or counseling route. And for a while, I was interested in like PA school, and that's a physician assistant program. It's a master's. So I did all my prereqs for that, and I even like became an EMT at one point because I was like, well, I need to get my hours, you know. I did the whole thing. Yeah, I was a certified EMT and everything. But when I was gonna graduate, I was like, I don't know if I'm like super set on this, even though I had done all the prereqs and did the program. So when I was looking at, because you need like a certain amount of voluntary hours or work hours, clinical hours for the PA program. And I saw, I think behavior technician was on that list. So when I saw that, I was like, what's a behavior technician? Because I'm so interested in like behavior. So I'm like, that sounds like I might enjoy that more than being an EMT, just for my personality. So I started doing that instead. And once I started working with like the kids and more the behavior route, I was like, this is what I want to do. It was just more what I wanted to do. And I didn't realize it until after I graduated, but it was fine because my major went with either one.
Izzy, she won't tell you the truth, but the truth is she saw me do it first, and she's like, wow, that looks really cool. I should probably do that. Yeah. And so then she ended up doing, but
that is so not true. No, it's not true, because I remember when I called him, I hadn't talked to Gabe in a while when I was stuck on the side of the road, and I was like, I should call Gabe. And that was when I found out he was a BT, and I was like, what the heck, you became a BT? And I was like, you're trying to be me, Gabe, every single time.
Actually, I think you're trying to be me because I was at first. So, Izzy, am I right here? Am I crazy? Am I crazy?
I don't want to get into it. But from what it sounds like, Gabe was it first. But that's interesting.
I did it as soon as I graduated. I'm just kidding.
Anyways,
yeah. we don't want to fight on here. This isn't the place.
I'm about to fight him.
We'll do it after.
What was I gonna ask? I just lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot, Gabe. I was gonna ask about your master's program. Talk about that. How's that going?
Yeah. Okay. So my master's program. Like I said, I was working as a BT right after I graduated. I was doing a gap year, and I wasn't exactly sure what master's I was going to go with. I was debating doing a BCBA program, which would be like board certified behavior analyst, to keep in the field that I'm in right now. But I felt like it was, again, I was like, it's too like focused. So I liked how social work, I have like a route to take if I want to focus on like behavior or like clinical side. I have those options. So I applied for the master's of social work. And another reason why I chose that is because there's this thing called the Title 4E program, which I'm a part of. And if you are a Title 4E grant social work student, they pay for your entire master's as long as you work for the county and child welfare 2 years after you graduate. For 2 years after you graduate, if that makes sense. So that was kind of what like helped me make my deciding factor, aside from it was something I was really interested in. But it's been interesting because I thought I was going to go back to school, and then COVID hit. So
talk about that. How has COVID impacted all that? And is it something that like you see as a negative thing, like, dang, I didn't get to go in person, or it's like, well, it's been okay?
Okay, so at first I remember being kind of like iffy about it, because I'm like, I've been out of school and now I'm gonna have to go back to school and all online. Like, I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay attention, like how that's gonna work. But it ended up being good. It's been good for me because I mean, everything's online, but I'm at home, like I get to be at home more. I can still focus. It's live. We do like synchronous. So it's not on our own time. We still have like set times, and the professor and all the students are there. So it kind of feels like we're all there, kind of like right now. So I didn't mind that at all. I also think because I had already gotten like my undergrad experience and that experience of like being at college and all of that, I didn't feel like I was missing out on it. And I think just because, like maybe I'm older now. Like I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I wasn't too like disappointed by the idea of not going onto campus. If anything, I don't, and now I'm like used to it. So I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna be when I have to go to campus. Like now there's gonna be a
Or
commute. Like, I don't know.
are things opening back up and stuff? Are they expecting you to come back in person?
I think so. They've been sending out emails saying that they're thinking in the fall we might go back in person. So I'm like, ooh,
Just tell them
this
you
will
don't
be
feel safe.
interesting. Dude, they sent out a survey. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to disclose this, but they sent out a survey and like there was like questions like how comfortable would you feel? And I was like, not comfortable at all. Like
No.
no, but I won't say any names, but there was other students who are like, yeah, I put that too. And I was like, I know. We all got used to being at home.
People are getting comfortable.
Yeah. But it'll be fine. Figure it out.
And for your master's program, is there like a big project that you have to do, or what does the workload look like? It's like how different is it from like undergraduate workload or like work? I don't even know how to ask that, but like how different is it from undergraduate?
Yeah, I would say the workload in the master's has been, I would say less. There's less, it's more like in depth as far as like the research you have to do. And I don't even know how you would put it, but just the intellectual level of it is like higher, but it's less, if that makes sense. It's also a lot less classes. I only have classes on Monday and Wednesday, and I only have each class once. So on Monday and Wednesday, I have one in class and then a different class in the afternoon. And then Wednesday, I have two different classes, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I said that funny, but and then I have internship on Tuesday and Thursday. I actually go into my placement for my internship, and I'm currently placed at a foster care agency. So
What do you
it's
do
just
there?
so there, I'm assigned to one foster family, and I'm kind of in charge of just overseeing those kiddos, just checking in on them, making sure if foster mom has any concerns, we're addressing them. If they need any resources or any sort of like interventions, we're just kind of contacting the county social workers and making sure that they're getting that. So with that, I kind of mean like I've contacted like the high school counselor if one of the kids is struggling in school, set up meetings for them, or if one of the children in that home has like a speech delay, I'll have to contact like VMRC is what it's called over here, and they'll get a referral, and if they need services, they'll get them the services. So like stuff like that. You're kind of just overseeing everyone and all the needs of the kids in the home and making sure they're getting what they need.
Mm. Do you like that kind of work?
I do. I do. I don't think I necessarily want to work in a foster care agency, but I really like working with children and parents. So that's kind of more what I'm interested in. I think my second year I'm gonna get placed in child welfare, like the CPS, like county. And I checked off, hopefully I get it. I want to work with like family maintenance, where you're working with like children and families who got referred, but they're working on staying with their parents and getting services so that they can just work on whatever it was that got them into the system. I think that's what I'm more interested on, like interventions and just parents getting the resources that they need so that they can communicate better with their children and, have a stronger like family bond.
I know we skipped over to like the grad school part, but I think for anyone who's maybe either going to Davis or just like maybe entering undergrad, like, do you have any advice for them? Some stuff that maybe you participated in or some things that you did that kind of helped your undergrad years or something you wish you would have done?
Um, I feel like definitely joining a club. I would suggest that for incoming freshmen, just find a club, even if it's like an intramural club or some sort of sport, or if you're into, I think they have like a chess club. They have a club for everything. So
Yeah,
I
they
would
do.
say find a club. Like you're gonna find a club that you like, and I think that's a great way to meet people and meet people with similar interests. So I think that's a good one. I would also suggest using the swipes outside of the DC. This is a very Davis advice right here. Because Gabe didn't even know this, and I'm like, can't believe you. But if you have extra swipes on your little Aggie card. You can use it at Starbucks. You can use it at the food trucks. Like you don't have to use it at the DC. So that's probably my best advice to people
Yeah.
at Davis.
Life hack.
Yeah,
Little
I
Aggie
did not
life
know
hack right
about
there.
That is
Oh,
a little.
life hack.
That is definitely an Aggie
Sure.
life hack, and it's funny because I was part of the hiking club for 3 years. I only attended one meeting, but I was part of it.
No.
It's one of my proudest moments in Davis.
Hey, that's what not to do. What clubs were you in, Talia?
Okay, so I did a lot of volunteering aside. I was gonna say that too, but I'm like, I might be throwing a lot on them. I feel like I'm the type of person like I like to keep busy. Like I like to have places to go. So I was part of Chicanos, Latinos in Health Education, which is abbreviated as CHE. And we would have like weekly meetings. I was part of it since I was a freshman. Like my friends were in it from my dorm, so I would go, and I ended up just getting so used to it, and like I ended up being like co-director like by my senior year. So I was kind of like hosting the meetings, like stuff like that. So aside from the fact that you're gonna make friends and you're gonna have people to talk to and be there with you throughout your undergrad process, you also get a lot of like oh my God, I don't even want to say it now because I'm like struggling to say it, but you get a lot of like practice, like doing speeches and doing presentations and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's really good for like relationship building. We would always invite like alum who were also like in the club or ended up going into like health professions, and it was just a great way to network, honestly. So I think clubs are really important. If anything, I regret not joining the boxing club. I would always see it, and I'm like, dude, I wish I would have done it, and I never did.
Hey, Izzy,
Damn.
Izzy, do you know that Talia's the #1 UFC
I'm not.
supporter and fan? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
I just found out last week, bro. It's crazy. She knows all the fights.
Dude, I don't. Like sometimes I'll know all the fights going on, and I'll tell him, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're the biggest fan," and I'm like, "I just happen to know them this weekend."
Dude, Gabe is the wrong guy to tell. He doesn't know anyone. Literally doesn't know anyone. I'm like, bro, Stipe is gonna fight this weekend. He's like, dude, I don't know who that is. He's like, I'm down to just go watch. He's like, I don't know who it is though. I'm like, all right. That's
Dude,
fine.
I can't believe he didn't know Stipe. I literally. Oh wait, sorry. Oh my goodness, I was crying again.
Oh, it's okay. I thought you were apologizing. Like, oh, I don't want to say anything bad about Gabe. I was like, no,
I
go
know.
ahead,
That's what I
go
thought you were
ahead.
gonna say too.
No. But honestly, like I didn't watch that fight, but I was hoping Stipe would win because I saw the first one, and I really like Stipe.
Me
I will
too.
say though, like I don't really know everything about the fight game, but I'm so set on like certain people. Like I mean,
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes, like there's no
Yeah.
fight. They don't
Yeah,
even have
It's
anymore.
yeah. Some fighters. Yeah, some fighters are like so dominant that you're like, dude,
Yeah.
there's no one for them to fight.
Okay. The one that recently surprised me though, like Adesanya losing, I was crushed.
I wasn't going for him, but I'm really surprised he lost.
I was surprised he lost just because he was so much on a roll of like winning that I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like he's on his way up. Like there's no way. And then he lost, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, the whole fan base is just
Dude, yeah, it's
sad.
crazy too, because he's like the best boxer in the UFC. Easily. The most technical boxer. And it's just, he got exposed. His ground game got exposed. Gabe doesn't know what the
Yeah.
fuck we're talking about right now, but
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
like,
smiling.
I will
I
say
watched
though,
that
like
fight.
I know like those main names, but yeah, I didn't end up watching the Stipe one. I remember I told Gabe, I was like, please tell me he won. I just like,
And I was
just
like,
tell me.
no, he didn't.
I thought he was kidding. Oh my God, I was sad.
dude, yeah, I was so upset because I was going for him too. I love Stipe. He's just such a all around good guy. Just easy to root for, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just hurt. I was so crushed. It sucks too because when I watch those, like I get so nervous and I don't even have any association or I don't even know these
Yeah.
people, you know. And I get hella
Bro,
nervous just watching them
You're
fight.
ridiculous.
I'm probably so
You
annoying to
like-
watch fights with.
Yeah, bro. You're like, my heart. Oh my God. I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Hey, I don't sound like that, okay? I don't say that.
That's exactly what you say.
He's rooting for them.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Back to you.
Yeah.
How do we even get off this? UFC? How do we go from school to UFC? What are we
Oh,
talking
shoot.
about?
Wanted
Oh,
to
I
join
thought
the
you wanted
boxing
to join the
club.
boxing club.
Yeah, boxing club.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, Gabe, how did you even get into hiking club? I didn't even know you were in hiking club.
Well, I wasn't really in it. If you heard, I only went to one meeting in 3 years, but I got the emails, so I felt like I was a part of the club, you know.
You're like, but they made me. I went one time to the meeting, they made me president. Like, I don't,
bro, look
I
at
don't
this.
get it.
This is the thing with the hiking club is that I showed up and bro, like there's packed. There's probably 100 plus people showing up for this thing, right?
Oh damn.
And then when they're trying to make like events to go to certain places to hike, everybody has to find a ride. And at that time when I was trying to join, I was like, I don't know, 19 or 20. And so like I didn't have a license. I didn't have anything really going on right there. And I hadn't got my car yet. And so I was like, if I need to find someone either to get a ride with or I'm going to have to drive myself there. And I was like, dude, you know what? Like it's such a hassle. Like I'd rather just not do it. But I stayed on the email list in case I ever changed my mind, but I didn't. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, man.
That
Hey,
is
what are you
the
gonna do?
thing about like Davis clubs though, like especially the first week, every club is out there like flyering. Like they're all like, join our listserv, like they want to get you to be on their emails, join the club. You'll get so many like little cards on like welcome week events going on. So you kind of have to find like your little niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's great advice. Join a club. Like some of my friends that I still talk to from my freshman year, I met them through club. Like that's your boys, your homies, you know, like that's the people that you meet and you're hanging out with.
Yeah. I would say join a club or get a job either on campus or like nearby with other people who also go to like the similar college. Cause that's what I did. I worked at the coffee house there at Davis and it was so sick because literally all the students ran that whole place. And so it was super dope just talking to people, vibing with them, talking to them. And then you find out they have similar classes and you guys just end up just like naturally just hanging out together or naturally going to the same class together. So it was pretty sick.
Mhm. I didn't even think about that one, but yeah, I had a job on campus since like my second year there.
What'd you do?
So my first job on campus, I was part of the Student Disability Center and I was a test proctor. So I would watch like students who needed extra time or their own space to take the test. But it was super chill because I mean, I would just hand them the test, be like, here you go. And then I'll just wait until they're done. So it was a very chill job on campus for sure. And then I think it was my senior year, I started working as a peer advisor for my major. So I was a peer advisor for the human development major. That one was a little more stressful, not gonna lie. Just because I had to like actually help students make their schedules for the major. And like sometimes if I would forget to add a certain course or something, like my boss was like, that's like a big no-no. She's like, you can't mess up these schedules. So it was a little more stressful, but I really liked it. It was a cool job.
Damn, that's a lot of pressure. If you screw that up, that's like another semester for them.
Yeah, it was pressure.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
Bro.
what I'm saying. And that's why, like, when it would happen, she was like, you can't make these mistakes. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Damn, so it happened more than once. Is that what you're
But
saying?
she would always review everything.
Okay.
Damn. What would you say is your coolest class you took in campus or during your undergrad years? Because I know there's like a bunch of random classes. Like I took a class on earthquakes. There's classes on dinosaurs that people can take. Like, what's the coolest class you took during your undergrad?
Dude, I took a class on like zombies like my freshman
What?
year. Like I took so many classes like from all different topics. I would say my favorite class though, and this is the class where I met Gaben. It was a seminar on art. And the reason it was my favorite class is we actually took a field trip and there was no other class where we did that in. So I really liked that class. For one, I love like street art, like murals. Like if I could paint a mural on a building one day, like my life would be made. So that class was like, that was really fun. I really liked that. And part of the field trip was like going to look at murals in Mission District in San Francisco. So that was my favorite class. Aside from that though, oh my God, side note, my other favorite class, it was my practicum for human development where I was in the infant and toddler room and I would literally just hang out with babies like for the class. So that
What
was
the
awesome
heck?
too.
Where'd you guys get the babies from?
Yeah, I was just
Shipped them in boxes.
Wholesale,
you
bro.
know, we
Wholesale.
said babies.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I don't know where they recruited the babies. It was like parents from Davis. I think some of them were like assistant professors or like TAs. I don't know. I don't know where they were recruiting these babies, but they had babies on campus. It was kind of like a daycare and you could intern there. And I was assigned to two little girls. They were both like 13 months, a little over a year when I started with them. So, oh, they were so fun.
13 months. Why don't you just say 1-year-olds? I forget who I was watching, dude. I was watching something
We were
online.
just
They were
talking
like
about
calling their baby, dude.
I have a reason.
He's like,
what was the reason? Okay, I have a reason.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm so done because shout out to Yessie again. Yessie would make so much fun of me because I would be calling kids like 18 months old. It's a human development thing. It's a human development thing. It's a child development thing. Like there's so many stages that you'd have to like identify them by months. Like from 12 to 14 months of age, their like developmental stages are so different from like 15 to 18 months of age. So you'd have to like identify them by their months so that you know like what skills to work on with them, what they can and can't do, like what they should be able to do, like stuff like that. So it's just a human development thing.
And Izzy, this is exactly why I didn't switch majors. This is exactly why. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this.
yeah.
It's 1 year old, all right? He's 2 years
Like
old.
I'm not buying into this.
He's like, he's 36 months. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I have to sit there and do all the math. It's like, why can't you just say 3 years old, man?
Oh
No,
my
I
God.
get that though.
And you know what it is too? I remember I'd have to write notes on how my day went with them and I would have to put their months. So I remember like writing 14-month-old, 15-month-old when they turn a new month. So it's ingrained in my brain now.
So that's all the questions I had. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Talia, thanks again for joining us here. Thanks for all your insight on your boutique and undergrad years and all that stuff. Really appreciate you coming on. All right. Thanks everybody for buying merch again. And everybody shop Lovely Bae. Link will be in the description. All right. All right. Peace out, guys.
Later, guys.